What if you could make keto sourdough buns, keto buns with sourdough discard with almost no labor? Welcome to the Keto Bacon Mechanic. Hi, I'm Sherry Mack. I'm 64 years old and I lost over 70 pounds about 15 years ago doing a flexible keto lifestyle. Don't believe in diets, and I've been able to keep the weight off. Please like the video. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be informed when I have other videos coming down the pike. And you always get the recipe link in the description. So, how do you make keto buns with sourdough discard with almost no labor? You use a bread machine. It's amazing. It makes the job so easy. Also, at the end of this video, be sure to check out our sourdough playlist because you get lots of recipes, tips. I'll be doing a whole bunch of other types of videos on keto low-carb sourdough. Oh, it's my passion. If it's your passion too, please subscribe. I'd love to have you as part of the group. Okay, so depending on what you're making, the buns, bread in the machine, in place of the stand mixer, here's why it's really beneficial. So when you buy a stand mixer, you often get the flat beater attachment, which is great for creating the shaggy dough, which the machine always does. The shaggy dough means just pulling all the dough into a rough dough, just so that it starts to pull together and hydrate. And then the machines often come with the corkscrew handle. They call it a bread kneader, and this is a really good attachment when you're working with wheat flours, because again, wheat flour has a lot of forgiveness because of the high gluten. So this particular attachment in your stand mixer will work quite well. But it is troublesome when you're working with keto and low carb flour doughs. So you can either do one of two things. So you can try to knead it aggressively, like you do your shaggy dough, and then do the more aggressive kneading with the flat beater handle. But the most beneficial handle with your attachment with your stand mixer is the J-hook. It is a beautiful attachment for making keto and low carb doughs. So if your machine doesn't have a J-hook and you can't seem to find one for your stand mixer, you could do it in the bread machine, which is what we're doing today. So there's so many benefits of doing most of the work of your keto doughs, and in this case, our keto buns with sourdough discard in the bread machine. In the spring, again, you don't want to heat up the kitchen. It uses less electricity, and it's so fast and easy. Okay, let me put these aside. So we're going to today work with this machine. If you have a 2-pedal machine, look for something that says dough. In my KBS machine, I would be putting it on the setting of raw dough. You just want to bring it to the point where it's had its aggressive kneading. Then we're going to pull it out of the machine, shape the buns, put them on the baking tray, and get them in the oven. So we're going to start by adding our warmed up water. This was warmed up at for 30 seconds in the microwave. Then we're going to add our sourdough discard, which comes from your sourdough starter. So I wanted to show you the two. So this is 1849 San Francisco Gold Rush, and it was fed vital wheat gluten and oat fiber. And it's one of 4 of the Global Heritage Collection starters. And I also have here the Bio Boss. So the Bio Boss was my own creation. It's not 150 years old. And this is fed blanched almond flour and coconut flour. You do not taste the coconut flour in the final breads and baked goods, but you do if you don't use coconut flour in the dough. Sourdough discards that come from the starter never are high in tanginess. That's really important to know because it doesn't get enough fermentation. So whether it's a traditional sourdough discard made from wheat or a keto version, which is what we're using today, the tanginess is going to be very low. But it will add the 5th taste sensation because it's a fermented product of umami, roundness and depth of flavor to your breads and baked goods, and today our keto buns. So there's a reason to use this. It helps you keep your starter alive by using the discard, and it's got depth of and roundness of flavor from the 5th taste sensation of umami. So today I'm going to work with the vital wheat gluten. Here's the other thing. If you work with the vital wheat gluten and oat fiber feedings, as is the case here, the resulting bread, the resulting breads, baked goods, and keto buns will have more oven spread. because of the vital wheat gluten in the starter. If you use the Bio Boss, which is fundamentally gluten-free, but not for celiac, this one will also have some oven spray, just not quite as much. So if you don't mind the vital wheat gluten, go with the Heritage, one of the Heritage collections. As I mentioned, there's 4 of them. Okay, so we're going to start, and we're going to add a cup of this starter into the recipe. The second that you remove the starter from the jar for a recipe, it is now referred to as the sourdough discard, because you're discarding it from the jar. You're going to refeed your starter, and when it reaches the top of the jar again, you're all set for baking. So I'm going to measure out a cup of this. And before I start, you can see all of the gorgeous bacterial, healthy bacteria, lactobacillus cultures and wild yeast fermenting in that starter. Look at that baby. Oh, looks so good. And the same as this one is too. Look at the bubbles in this one, gas pockets. Now this one, both of them had more gas pockets this morning and some hooch, because I hadn't fed them. I fed them last night and they needed feeding again this morning, but I didn't want to feed them before I baked with them. I wanted them to be without the feeding, so I just stirred them. And with a matter of less than an hour, the gas activity started again. That's how powerful they are. Okay, so we're going to measure out a cup. Just give it a mix again. You always, when you see the hooch, in traditional sourdough baking, the hooch is usually on the top. With your keto sourdough starter, it can be anywhere in the jar. So you just give it a good mix before you're going to use it. Again, do not feed it before you use it. Just give it a mix. Okay, and I'm going to measure out a cup of our starter. Okay, we're going to add that to the bread machine. When I'm finished this video, I'm going to transfer this to a clean jar and start the feedings again. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, next we're going to add in our other liquids, which is we have either olive oil or avocado oil, whatever you prefer. Remember, the olive oil is going to give it that flavor in the actual buns, the keto buns, and 2 eggs. Just want to give that a little bit of a stir, just to break up the eggs. Now, you can blend the eggs together and beat them together, then add them to the bread machine or put them in here, because you're going to have to stir it anyway before you get started. Just stir the wet ingredients together. And then we're going to start layering our dry ingredients. So we're going to start with our vital wheat gluten. So we have it here. We're going to add that to the bread pan. Also our oat fiber. Our whole psyllium husks. Oh, look at the dust. Our whole psyllium husks. Then we're going to add our, let's see here. So this is this. We're going to add the sugar over the top, the baking powder over the top, the xanthan gum over the top. Just spread it across the whole pan. Now, with the salt, we do not want the salt to deactivate any of the other ingredients, specifically the sourdough starter, discard, because salt halts fermentation. So we've got the discard on the bottom, and we want to just spread the salt around the edges of the pan. And lastly, we've got our yeast. So we're going to put our dry active yeast in a well in the top of the dough. Okay. I'm going to show you what that looks like. Now we're going to put it into the bread machine. We're just going to click that baby in. It's a tight. And I'm going to hit the select course and just go to the icon called dough. That's all we want. We hit start. And let the machine preheat for about 30 minutes. Oh, by the way, the Zoji machine preheats for about 30 minutes, whereas a standard KBS machine or a one-panel machine usually preheats for 5 to 10 minutes. So make sure that you determine that before you start baking. While we're waiting, I just want to give a shout out to Randy. Randy is one of our Sinless Sourdough members, and he's the one that shared with me that he is using the bread machine to make his Sinless Sourdough breads and baked goods because he doesn't have a stand mixer. And I thought, what a great idea for the video. So Randy, thank you. Randy is an avid keto sourdough baker, a seedless sourdough baker, and a retired pastor. So thank you, Randy. If any of you have any questions, you have ideas that you would love for me to do, please comment and let me know what you want to see, what you would like to contribute. I highly recommend, of course, that you invest in a seedless sourdough membership because you learn how to bake 3 different styles of keto low-carb sourdough. You learn about 3 different fermentation techniques that really take your keto low-carb sourdough baking to the next level for the health benefits. Anyways, enough of a plug. We're going to keep going back to the machine. Okay, so when you're using the machine just to knead the dough and you do it on the raw dough cycle as in a KBS machine or just dough cycle on the Zoji, it's only going to knead the dough once. When it's finished, the machine's going to beep and that's when we're going to pull the dough out of the machine and make our buns. Okay, so first we're going to divide the dough in half. And then you're going to divide each half into 6 pieces, which will turn into 6 buns per side. That's 12 buns all together. For each piece, you're going to do a stretch and tuck. You stretch the dough over top of itself to create tension, which creates oven spring, and tuck it in below. We've got our nice raw buns, and we're just going to cover the buns. You can cover and let them sit anywhere between 30 to 60 minutes, and then we're going to pop them in the oven. Okay, the oven is preheated. The buns have been resting for about an hour. Ooh, look at these babies. You can use either olive oil spray or just olive oil as opposed to an egg wash. It makes them nice and crispy on the outside and golden, and I kind of like that texture. But either way, and normally you use sesame seeds, but I don't have any on hand, so I'm just going to use my everything but the bagel seasoning that's low in sodium. It's homemade. Look at these beautiful, beautiful keto buns with sourdough discard. Look at that. Oh my goodness, they look so delicious. They're so large that you can actually use them as hamburger buns. They don't necessarily have to be dinner rolls. Oh, look at this. Just tears apart. Oh, smothered in butter. Oh, so good. Chewy, bouncy. You would not know that this is a keto low carb bun. Oh, they're really good.